Speculation is growing about just who will replace Sussan Ley as Health Minister after she resigned. Ms Ley stood down yesterday despite saying she is confident she's done nothing wrong. In response, the government has announced an independent agency will be established to administer and adjudicate on claims, and MPs' expenses will now be published monthly. Political reporter Jane Norman says there are still a number of possible replacements for Ms Ley.
At the moment, it's all very much speculation. Malcolm Turnbull yesterday confirmed that Sussan Ley had resigned as Health Minister and said at the time that he would be announcing the new ministerial lineup early next week. Now, we understand Malcolm Turnbull does not want a particularly wide reshuffle in the lead up to the resumption of Parliament in February. A few names have been thrown about in reports this morning. Cabinet ministers including Greg Hunt, Paul Fletcher. Those are some names as possible replacements for Sussan Ley. At the moment, though, Cabinet Secretary Arthur Sinodinos is acting in the role, so there is obviously also a chance that he could be appointed to the portfolio permanently. But as I say, at this stage, it's all very much speculation, but should be confirmed early next week.
And Jane, it seems that the Prime Minister's shake-up of parliamentary entitlements has very broad support.
Yes, well, after decades of travel expenses scandals, it seems now the government is finally going to act on this. The Prime Minister announced yesterday that an independent agency will be established to administer and adjudicate on all MPs' expenses. And also for the first time, all expenses will be published monthly rather than half-yearly. So these are some pretty significant reforms. They're being billed as some of the biggest reforms in decades. And Labor yesterday said that it had given the government in principle support. We understand Bill Shorten had a phone chat with Malcolm Turnbull. And this morning, the Greens leader Richard Di Natale said his party is also on board, but he said he wants the government to go even further. Let's take a listen to what Richard Di Natale had to say.
When we return to the Parliament, yes, we'll support the creation of this authority. We think it's a positive step, but we'll also be insisting through legislation that we establish a national anti-corruption watchdog and that this body sits within that.